Next stop, the kind of homes we're all going to be living in. But before we get there, let's remember what the future used to look like.
This is the kitchen of tomorrow, a press-button dream coming true for Mrs. Housewife. All sorts of wonders are hers at the push of a button, from refrigerator doors to countertops built for big gals or little gals.
In the gadget-crazy 50s, everything was push-button controlled, which mostly seemed to make life slower and more complicated. Interior designer Lisa Crone thinks it's time for a change.
I think that what designers can do is take what's good about design as it exists now and make it easier, quicker, cleaner, safer, more intuitive in its use.
This is GE's vision of the future. A $10 million home built out of plastic with more gadgets than the Starship Enterprise.
How nice of you to call. Won't you come in?
Like the Enterprise, the house runs by computer with all the wires and cable hidden away below the surface. You can control security, set room temperature, run the VCR, or even run the bath just by touching a screen. Even GE's future house looks more like a regular home than the Jetsons. Lisa Crone isn't surprised.
You're still going to have people who want French Provincial, and you're still going to have people who want Danish Modern, and you're still going to have people who want, Calico Country, and that's not going to change. For most of us, the way it's going to look for the next 25 years is not that far from the way it looks now.
Okay, fair enough. So in the future, houses are still going to look pretty much like this. But wait a second, what is that? Eugene Sway is building a house in San Francisco that looks like something out of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And that's no accident.
We're actually looking towards nature as a basis for design to create buildings unlike anything that's ever been seen in the history of humanity.
Well, he's got that right. Eugene believes that many of us will be living in homes like these at some point in the future. And, as he points out,
the future is now, because as we speak, every second that passes is the future.
Although it looks like an amoeba, Eugene's home is earthquake-resistant, fire-resistant, and termite-resistant. Unfortunately, it's not entirely resistant to criticism.
Naturally, anything new, historically speaking, will always receive controversy. Sooner or later, the radical always becomes the classic of tomorrow.
Criticism aside, there's one person who believes Eugene's designs are the shape of things to come. His mother.
Some like square, some like round, some like a boxy type of house. But I think it's about time for a change.
Yeah, but what I would like is some reviews. And here are my reviews, not in my Friday section of the paper, but right here where I actually need the information to make a decision.
And in the future, you won't even have to do the choosing. You tell your TV what you like, and it'll sift through every program on television and have a personalized selection waiting for you when you get home. Till then, my personal choice for you is In the House, Mondays at 8:30 here on NBC. Now we can go back to the future. You won't just be watching your TV. You use your remote control to take you inside a computer-generated shopping mall. You can wander around, check out the local stores, and buy stuff.
Let's go in the sporting goods store and take a look. Let's take a look at the tennis rackets. You want to go with the 950?
Be better.
You think? Let's buy it.
Yep.
Want?
That was easy.
I think she's going to like that.
You can even go into a supermarket and check out the ingredients of your favorite cereal. And so we've got 500 channels, movies on demand, interactive shopping, but how much TV can all of us really stand?
I do think you're going to be able to tune in daily for chess lessons. I think bird watchers will have their own channel. And I think that's a good thing. But I do think we're going to finally find ourselves on such an electronic overload that we're all going to run out and look at a sequoia tree.
If you're like a lot of people, you don't know the difference between the internet and a basketball net. When we come back, we'll take you for a ride down the information superhighway. When Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone, he could have never predicted what was to come. 900 numbers, answering machines, faxes. But the biggest change of all happens when you plug your telephone into your computer. They call it going online. And it's created a whole new way for people to meet, talk, or even fall in love.
When Sandra and I first met online, there was an immediate connection between us that was unlike anything I'd ever experienced before. And it really went past just the words on the screen. That's what I found so mystical about it even.
My first conversation with Scott was probably 3 hours long, but I wanted it to be longer. I felt like I could have talked to him for forever.
Scott lived in Las Vegas. Sandra lived in Virginia. But even though they were 2,000 miles apart, their computers brought them closer every day, letting their fingers do the talking.
We have these little boxes that we communicate in on the screen, and the boxes are about that big, and they're just filled with text. And I think to myself, how can I be so deeply moved by just a little box of text? It's amazing, but yet I am.
If you're wondering what happens with Scott and Sandra, don't go anywhere because we've got a big surprise coming later. But first, we'll take a longer look at how computers all over the world can link up and communicate. It's called the Internet.
The Internet's the fastest growing communication medium in history. It's a way that we can move a lot of people in the world into the world of literacy and knowledge. And it's a way that a lot of people in the world can communicate with others.
When you find your way onto the Internet, you can talk with any computer anywhere in the world. Every second, millions of people are having fantastic, detailed discussions about every single thing you can think of. But don't let the concept scare you. One of the places they're using this technology is at Chiat Day, a New York-based advertising agency that's redefining the notion of what it means to go to work.
Really?
Kara?
Yes?
Can I have a power book, please?
For how long?
Everyone is wired via their computers. And by the way, productivity has never been higher.
I get up every single morning. I usually come here around 11 o'clock, mostly to see my friends. It's kind of like being in high school again, to do some research, to get some things done, to go to a couple of meetings, and then I'll go back home and work for several hours. I'll go to the gym. I'll do the normal things that people do. And if I'm so inspired, at midnight, I might decide to just do some more work again.
If Chiat Day's deskless, paperless experiment catches on, soon we'll all be living and working with computers. But computers are like any other invention. They can be used for good or ill. This man is using a computer to get money. It's an ordinary transaction, but imagine if this technology gets into the wrong hands.
I personally have always had attraction to things that I'm not supposed to know about. And hackers, you know, it's underground information you're not supposed to know.
Repo Man's career as a computer criminal ended when the Secret Service came knocking at his door. But even now, he still wants his identity protected.
Anything that's computer operated, especially remotely computer operated, is vulnerable. I don't think any data is absolutely safe on a computer.
And the number one target could well be big business. Where information is the most valuable commodity, these are the storehouses for treasure more valuable than gold.
The potential for crashing, say, a corporation's network or system is pretty powerful and very likely and very possible.
In a world where computers are everywhere, in our cars, controlling our traffic, helping us communicate, Repo Man believes all of us should proceed with caution.
We're moving into a new age.
Teachers and students will be walking through worlds that artists and scientists and designers have built. You can imagine the teacher looking up in the sky and pointing out to a flying dinosaur bird, and all the kids looking up, wearing their interface devices, looking up and seeing the same bird. We might even imagine that the kids themselves will become part of this world. Maybe when the class goes into this prehistoric world, some of the kids want to be dinosaurs. Maybe some of the kids want to be fishes.
But the future for our kids isn't going to be all work and no play. They're going to have more fun in more ways than you can dream of.
Attention all pilots. Report to battle stations immediately.
Imagine becoming Luke Skywalker in your own Star Wars adventure. In the playground of the future, computer games are going to look and feel more and more like movies. And going to the movies will soon be a whole new ballgame. Interactive movies like this are already here. Audiences vote for what they want to see happen.
Who do you want to talk to?
When the actors offer you a choice, you make the decision, and democracy rules. And after the film, you can grab some cappuccino at a cyber cafe.
In the future, I think you'll find more and more people trying out cyber cafes.
Cyber cafes like this one are opening up all over the country. You can log online, surf the net, play with virtual reality, even morph your own image. And if you can't understand a word, just bring a kid with you.
One of the most interesting things that we're seeing in the cafe are kids who are bringing their parents here, and they're teaching their parents.
So the kids are already figuring it out. When we come back, we'll look at how the techno guys in Silicon Valley are making computers more human. And you'll find out how you can visit the doctor without even leaving home.
Man's creative genius has perfected the world's newest, fastest, and most amazing electronic calculator. Problems that might take 7 years to complete are solved now in 7 minutes.
25 years ago, mainframe computers filled up entire rooms. Today, they're small enough to fit in our briefcase. 25 years from now, they'll be so small that in many cases, you won't even be able to see them. They'll be in our clothes, telling the washing machine what temperature to use. They'll be in your dog's collar so he doesn't get lost. And they'll make everything in your life a little easier.
Computing is not about computers, it's about life. And that's what most people don't understand. A phone, for example, will not be a phone as we know it today. It'll be an English butler. And it will never ring, actually. And it would just sort of say, you know, excuse me, sir, so-and-so's on the phone, and it's rather important.
Answer call. Your consultation is ready, Anne. All connections have been made.
Sydney, do we have full enterprise set up?
Yes, Anne. Lauren Williams, the patient, and a technician are in Orem, Utah at the scanner.
I'll take it in the other room.
Computer-generated assistants like these are just around the corner.
Sydney? Yes, Ian.
Why did my wife design her computerized intelligent agent to be so young and handsome?
I am sorry, Ian. I'm not permitted to respond to that question.
That's smart, Sydney.
But I do thank you for the compliment.
Technology is profoundly impacting medical science today. It's no longer blood and guts, but it's bits and bytes.
Once in the computer, each body part can be viewed and manipulated in virtual reality. Doctors and students can work on these computer images just as if they were the real thing. Using this technique, doctors can practice an operation thousands of times before they go to work on an actual patient. But this technology isn't just going to be used to practice. When surgeons connect their tools to a computer, their movements can be mimicked exactly by robots at another location. A doctor views the patient through a video screen, so when he performs a suture in Seattle, you get stitched up in New York.
This is medicine's wake-up call to the information age. More and more of the technologies that are being explored today will be able to take advantage of the information highway.
Hey, Dixie. Male pedestrian 15 to 16 hit by a car. Pupils look okay. I heard some crepitus around the left clavicle. Slight local swelling.
Okay, I'll set up a scan on arrival. I need his EMR, Daniel. Phone number, please. 1895.
Digital technology will give doctors the ability to get to their patients immediately, no matter where they are. Emergency care, for one, will be dramatically improved.
You should be singing now.
Great. A little to the left, please.
All right.
Sorry, other left.
Right.
Thank you.
Even when there isn't an emergency, doctors will be able to make electronic house calls, looking in on patients by video phone, monitoring their blood pressure online, and even consulting with other doctors for a second opinion.
Doctor, could we get the mitral valve just a little clearer? Perfect. Perfect. Just hold it there for a moment, please.
In fact, experts predict that by the end of the decade, most phones in the country will have a screen attached.
Left bank appearance is really rocked by a far-out machine that looks a little like contemporary sculpture. But somehow it turns out sketches, still lifes, and portraits, just look at that deft line, that sensitive composition.
The art world has always been influenced by technology. And according to Peter Max, who led the pop art revolution in the 60s, computers could soon open the door to an explosion of new artists and new ideas.
When I paint, I go into my paintings fearlessly. And that's the same way that I've gotten into the computer world, that I've gotten into the cyber stuff. There's stuff yet to be discovered in the cyber realm that is going to be hard to be believed. There are going to be new colors discovered.
To hang any one of these Peter Max originals on your wall will cost you thousands of dollars. But in the future, you can enjoy the world's greatest art in your home at a fraction of the cost.
All the art that's ever been created by all the most creative people on the planet will be accessible to someone looking into something just like that. There'll be a kid somewhere putting it on or on an eyepiece or looking at a monitor.
Even traditional art galleries will be able to change their collections at the touch of a button. Another artist fascinated by the new technology is music superstar Peter Gabriel.
Hi there.
CD-ROMs look like regular CDs, but they play on your computer. And on Peter Gabriel's latest CD-ROM, you can play the instruments he uses.
There are many weird and wonderful instruments from all over the world. Why not try playing a few of these yourself?
You can even remix the music.
Hello, my name's Richard Evans. This is the production room. I'm having some trouble with a mix of digging in the dirt. Come on in and give me a hand.
Hit that switch.
So in the future, there'll be new ways of enjoying art and music. But what about the magazines we read? We went to San Francisco to talk to the people at a magazine called Wired. Wired magazine burst onto the scene 3 years ago, blending pop culture and cyber talk. And from the very start, it was clear that Wired was something new.
The first time you see it, you think, what is this? How do I read it? What's with the type and what's with the colors? And I don't get it. I think there's an incredible amount of energy that's leaping out of the pages. It's an optimistic view of the future. We're very future-friendly here.
In fact, Wired magazine is already reinventing itself. From their offices in the San Francisco warehouse, they've recently introduced a magazine that you can only get through your computer. It's called Hotwired.
You know, we say that Wired magazine is about the digital revolution, and Hotwired is the digital revolution.
With Hotwired, you become part of the magazine. You can contribute your own stories, send in your own music and art, or just browse through thousands of images and ideas. Best of all, it's free. Paid for by the same people paying for the program you're watching right now, advertisers.
One of the things that the advertising community has woken up to and is very conscious of at this point is that advertising dollars are going to pay the information superhighway.
So what does all this mean for the magazines you read every week? Well, don't worry, they'll still be around, but more and more of them will be available online.
We're all sort of in this tumultuous sea of change, riding these waves and figuring out where it's all going, and it's incredibly exciting.
But what do you do when the world starts seeming just a little bit too wide? Well, when you're tired of cyberspace, there's always outer space.
I must report to the moon. Breakthroughs, Amazing Things to Come is sponsored in part by McDonald's. Have you had your break today?
May I take your order, sir?
Indeed, you may. This morning, I succumbed to the pleasures of McDonald's Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Biscuit Extra Value Meal. Ah, yes, a bounty of tender bacon, a gently fluffed and folded egg. The reassurance of golden melted cheese with crispy hash browns and a small fresh brewed coffee. Well done, lads. A Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Biscuit Extra Value Meal for a nifty, thrifty $1.99. Thanks. New uniforms?
Have you had your break today?
It's been over 25 years since Apollo 11, but the moon seems almost as far away as it did back then. But NASA scientists are definitely seeing space in our future.
I think space represents a future which is different than the past. And I believe we all want to believe that tomorrow will be better and different than today. And space really represents that universally.
And before too long, your vacation plans might even include a trip to the moon.
They'll be having people come up there for a couple of days rest and relaxation, touring the lunar highlands. There are always going to be people that are going to want to go to a different place. And so the moon certainly will be one of those places I think people will set up shop.
Setting up shop on the moon might well involve mining its resources, especially helium-3. Helium-3 is used in nuclear fusion. And if you think it all sounds too expensive, remember this. One space shuttle load of helium-3 could provide enough energy to power the United States for an entire year. And after the moon, it's on to Mars.
I think that we will go to Mars. I think it will be probably within our lifetime. Mars is, of all the planets, the most Earth-like.
A trip to Mars might sound like science fiction, but the United States will be landing intelligent robots on Mars in just 2 years. They're called rovers. If the last hour is any indication, the future could turn out to be a pretty cool place. We've only scratched the surface, but there's no telling what people like you will come up with next. But before we go, remember that couple who met over their computer and began an online relationship? Well, guess what? They got married, except neither the bride, nor the groom, nor the minister were together. They got married online, through their computers, creating the world's first cyber wedding. I'm LL Cool J. See you in the future.
My destiny is before me.
Okay, let's have a cyber wedding.
Scott, do you take Sandra to be your wife? Say yes.
I do. Most definitely.
He said I do.
Sandra, do you take Scott to be your husband?
What'd she say? So far, we have no response.
Ladies and gentlemen of cyberspace, Mr. and Mrs. Wade Grusky.
Yes.
It's Wednesday, August 16th, 1995, and this is Dateline NBC. Tonight,
If you're on the